Hello and welcome to Extreme Metal Television. I am your host, Mark. In this episode, we get to sit down with the mighty Iced Earth. We've been away for a really long time, but we're back now. As you see, we got a brand new opening and lots of new segments coming up in the future and new faces you're going to see here on EMTV. But let's kick it off with an underground spotlight. First off, tell us about the new EP.
The new EP, we're so jacked. We're unbelievably jacked. It was probably the most difficult EP to get done, timeline-wise, cost of money-wise, and any problems that could happen to a band happened to us. It sucked that way, but we got it done, and we're so jacked on it. It's my first role as a producer kind of thing, too, so I took that helm, and we did it in a sweet studio in Vancouver called Greenhouse, and worked with a great guy named Sheldon Zaharko, and what's the final product is something that we're all like, wow, did we do that? Sweet. Title of the EP's Reborn. Like most bands that have been around the 7-8 year mark, we went through a lineup change or two. And so when we went through the first major one, we sat back and was like, let's reinvent ourselves here. Yeah. So those of you that heard this record before it's a significant change. It's fairly significant. So in essence, we rebuilt the band, we reborn the band, or rebirth. Kind of had a fitting title, I thought.
Yeah, what was the recording process like then?
Timeline-wise, we did a bunch of the instrumentals the first week, and then we spent a lot of times on vocals to get them the way that we wanted to. The writing process of the record was cool, and a lot of the lead stuff Tristan and I did in the studio at the time, which was sick. Yeah. And we really tried, although there was a timeline, we tried to make sure that we kind of pretended that there wasn't to the level that everyone was satisfied. Because the last thing I wanted was the EP to come out and my drummer be pissed about the kick drum sound or me not hearing a guitar lead or something. So we really tried our best to make everybody happy.
Anything else you want to promote before we go?
You can check out our new stickers. The Ginger Approved stickers are hilarious. Go to gingerapproved.com. We're actually using those for a bit of charity work, which is really cool. Yeah. So we take the proceeds that go for those and we help the kids that are being bullied and getting just fucked around with it ain't cool. And we get them into martial art programs or bring them into my dojo and stuff. So it is a humorous thing. I'm pointing here because there's one on the floor, but it is a humorous thing, but also it's kind of a cause that's close to us because we think bullies are fucking pussies. That's just, I know it's a hard thing. I just think that's the truth. Yeah.
In our app review, this time around we're taking a look at Earache Records' Earache Extreme Stage Diving Game. Let's take a look at the options first. Here we have camera tilt, music volume only goes to 9, should go to 11, and when I tried to turn it all the way down, it did nothing. Gore, of course we're going to keep that on, and let's check out our extra content. You can unlock a White Wizard covered song for money. Didn't get that one. Okay, let's play the game, shall we? Kind of like the look of this with the band on stage. One thing that bugs me about this is you don't hear any sound when you throw the guy into the crowd. The music's blaring, but I'd like to hear some bones getting crunched as he's bleeding all over the place. Lots of different music in this one as well. We're hearing Evil right now, and then there's At the Gates, Deicide, Oceano, White Wizard, Decapitated, Bonded by Blood in there, Haunted, Brutal Truth, and Wormrot, all songs to pick from in there as well. It's a fun little time waster with lots of really cool music. The gameplay is okay. You're not going to be blown away by it. Probably not going to get addicted to it, but it is kind of fun. It is available only on the Apple App Store, but it is for free. It's certainly not the greatest game out there, but it is kind of fun, and the music kicks ass. Check out Earache's Extreme Stage Diving.
EMTV's Cage recently caught up with Jon Schaffer of Iced Earth, and they spoke about the band's newest album, Plagues of Babylon, and they also talked about the band's storied history.
So you guys have been together for 30 some years. You've
Almost
put
30.
11 albums. How has it changed since then? Like, you've been there from the beginning.
A lot. I mean, but the vision's always, I'm always chasing the vision. So, but it's definitely changed. I mean, I think if you hear the catalog through the years, it's definitely changed. I mean, it's still at its very core. It has the Iced Earth thing. There's periods where there's more direct in your face metal records. There's some where it's very orchestral and very, kind of theatrical and all that kind of stuff. So.
Yeah, I mean, after like 3 decades, you're gonna have a little bit of variety. Can't do the same thing for.
Oh yeah. Otherwise it's you're spinning your wheels and it's kind of I wouldn't see the point in that.
Yeah. For Plagues of Babylon, if someone hadn't heard it, how would you describe it to them?
I mean, I don't know, it's kind of a typical Iced Earth record. It's dynamic, it tells a big story, it's got all of the elements. I mean, I don't know, it's just another step. I would say in some ways, it has the big epic stuff, and then it has like half of the album is a concept, part of the Something Wicked story, and then the back half is individual tracks, so that in itself lends, kind of a different dynamic to it, because it's sort of like, in a way, like the old Rush records were,
Yeah.
where there are a few of them where they would have a concept on one side and individual tracks on the other. So I think that lends itself to somewhat of a unique listening experience.
So your album art is always detailed and vibrant. Where did Set come from? I noticed that you've got Set on. It's kind of your mascot.
Yeah, it came from my twisted imagination. He's been on several album covers, not all of them. Kind of depends on where the lyrical theme is or whatever. I mean, with Dystopia, there was really only 2 songs that were tied into the Something Wicked story, but the idea that I had for the album cover really lent itself well to kind of the overall vibe of that record, even though only 2 songs were related to the Something Wicked universe. But the idea came to me in probably around 97, late 96, and the whole storyline just developed and came very fast. I mean, in my mind, it was really kind of freaky the way it unfolded, and then, let's say the star of the story, as it were, or, depending on what side of the coin you're on, he's kind of the Antichrist or the Savior, mm-hmm. depending on where you stand in that whole storyline. So, but yeah, it's just, I don't know, it just came to me.
Do you think him and Eddie from Iron Maiden would drink together, or do you think they'd probably be at arms with each other?
I don't know. It's a good question.
Do you have any words of wisdom for up-and-coming bands that want to be where you're at right now?
I mean, the biggest thing I think is, and I talk to obviously a lot of young musicians, is to find your own voice, whatever the instrument is. Whether you're I don't mean that by literal. I mean, don't try to emulate your heroes too much. I think if you listen to the music, you're already being influenced. I don't think you need to chase every note that a particular guitar player plays, or the way a singer sings, or whatever it is that you're infatuated with. I think the best thing is to just find your own voice, man. Find who you are and be an individual, and then you have a shot. Because the thing is, with a lot of what I see, a lot of mistakes that young bands make is there may be a genre that gets hit on, and whether it's mainstream or whether it happens within the metal world, I've seen it all through the years, come and go, and people are always reacting And by the time that there's a trend, whether it's in mainstream or in the metal underground or whatever, by the time these bands hear it and they think, oh, we're going to jump on that train, it's over. You know what I mean? Then they're chasing it. It's already been established. There's already, you know, whether it was death metal or whether it was grunge or hair metal or whatever the fuck, you know?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It's just, the point is that I'm trying to make is take your influences, listen to the music, don't obsess over trying to play every note that another guy does or sound like that person, whether you're playing drums or whatever it is you're doing. Try to find your own voice and be an individual. And then I think you have a shot at having a career, because then you're still going to be influenced, and then maybe you can bring something unique to the table, which is very hard to do. But I think that's ultimately what will build a career and what will sustain a career, is individuality.
That's going to do it for the latest episode of Extreme Metal Television. I'd like to thank all you guys for watching. Also like to thank my co-host James and the rest of the EMTV crew. Remember to check out extrememetal.tv. There's lots of really cool reviews up there. And subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're going to have some really cool new shows coming up in the future. And until next time, guys, see ya.